On a seemingly peaceful Christmas night in 2025, a storm of chaos erupted over Russia. Imagine the scene: peaceful lanterns glow in Kiev streets, where joyful carols mix with sirens piercing the cold winter air. But across the vast expanse, in Moscow, a different reality unfolds, one cloaked in fear and uncertainty. Citizens huddle in their homes, clutching their loved ones, sensing that something unprecedented is happening. That night, the sky above Russia transformed into a battlefield. The illusion of victory, carefully crafted by Vladimir Putin, crumbled in an instant. The horizon was lit with an ominous red glow, as fiery explosions lit up the darkness. For the first time in decades, Russia's energy core was struck with precision, its most vital refineries igniting one after another from the south to Siberia. The night turned into day as flames swallowed entire oil facilities, leaving behind blackened ruins. The soundscape was deafening: the roar of explosions, the shattering of steel, and the screams of collapsing infrastructure. In the heart of Moscow, police vehicles erupted in fire, every explosion shattering the myth of Putin's invincibility. Steel giants of industry belched smoke and flames, burning through the cold winter. The night sky shimmered with an apocalyptic hue, a harbinger of a new, terrifying reality. By dawn, Russia awoke, not to a warm Christmas morning, but to a landscape of devastation. A country whose capital once stood as a symbol of strength was now drenched in its own oil fire. Not a single patch of safety remained amid the chaos. The people, the oligarchs, the officials, all saw this destruction firsthand. Vladimir Putin, perhaps for the first time, glimpsed the brutal truth with his own eyes. His fortress was breached, his illusions shattered. Now, the world watches with bated breath. What have these attacks wrought? Why are even the most loyal elites beginning to question their leader? The answers reveal a carefully orchestrated military masterstroke, not a random drone strike, but a meticulously planned, multi-layered operation designed to choke Russia's very backbone. The Ukrainian forces analyzed Russia's geography, its strengths, its weaknesses, and devised a strategy of surgical strikes aimed at 5 critical points simultaneously. This wasn't just a show of force, it was a calculated knockout. The central target was the Novoshakhtinsk refinery in Rostov, a vital artery supplying fuel for the southern military and the backbone of Russia's armored might. This was no small attack. Western-made Storm Shadow missiles, with their bunker-busting precision, were deployed against the facility at midnight. Eyewitnesses report deafening blasts as the missiles struck the main distillation towers and storage tanks directly, without giving Russia's air defense a chance. Satellite data confirmed the heat signatures were massive. The refinery's core was pulverized, turning it into a heap of smoldering wreckage. How can the Russian elite trust Putin now? Their livelihoods depended on these refineries, their futures intertwined with the state's energy exports. The destruction has shattered trust. How can they continue business when their own assets are under direct attack? Citizens and oligarchs alike see the stark truth: their leader is no longer invincible. But Rostov is just the beginning. Eyes then turn eastward, thousands of kilometers away. Deep inside Russia's heartland, in Orenburg, another nightmare unfolds. Once considered safe from conflict, this region is now under threat. Ukrainian long-range drones, silent and precise, penetrate the defenses that Russia relies upon for domestic stability. Using stealth technology and autonomous navigation, these drones strike the critical gas processing complex. The plant, one of Russia's largest, suddenly erupts in flames. No warning, just a deafening silence broken by roaring fire and billowing smoke. The facility's gas separation units, vital to energy production, are obliterated. Satellite images reveal the destruction, a massive crater in what was supposed to be a symbol of Russia's self-reliance. This attack isn't just about money, it's a blow to Russia's economy. The plant processed over 37.5 billion cubic meters of gas annually, supporting everything from daily energy needs to vital chemical industries. Its destruction sends shockwaves through global markets but hits Russia even harder. The economy, once bolstered by these exports, is now bleeding badly. And the human cost? The closure of this plant means thousands of workers face unemployment. Their livelihoods vanish overnight, their families struggling to survive as winter tightens its grip. The city's vibrancy is replaced by despair, cold, empty streets echoing with the whispers of lost futures. This social chaos threatens to ignite unrest, challenging Putin's narrative of control. Meanwhile, further south in Krasnodar, another blow lands. The port of Temriuk, a vital gateway for Russian supplies sailing across the Black Sea, is engulfed by flames, a massive fire that experts say could cripple the port's entire operation. The roaring of flames, the crackling of collapsing tanks, the acrid smell of burning chemicals, it's chaos. This damage cripples Russia's maritime logistics, cutting off essential supply routes to Crimea. Without resupply, military and civilian life on the peninsula faces imminent crisis. The once reliable chain of supply begins to break, cranes, loading ramps, and rail lines rendered useless by the blast. The Christmas peace Russia hoped for is now replaced with a looming logistical nightmare. For oligarchs, these fires represent more than destruction, they signify a ruined empire of wealth. Their lucrative oil and gas exports are now at risk, billions of dollars in contracts cancelled, fortunes lost in moments. The unity around Putin begins to fracture as whispers of dissent grow louder. How can they follow a leader who cannot shield their riches? And then, in the city of Saratov, another strike hits home. Sirens sound as explosions erupt at a crucial refinery along the Volga River, the heart of Russia's fuel supply. Thick black smoke billows upward, choking the sky. Residents rush to gas stations, desperate for fuel, lines stretch for miles, the smell of gasoline thick on the cold air. Panic spreads. This nightmare in Saratov reveals a brutal truth: the narrative that Russia is invincible is crumbling. The entire country is feeling the sting, economically, socially, emotionally. The winter's cold feels even colder now, not just from the snow, but from the fiery chaos engulfing their homeland. Every explosion, every fire exposes the lie: Putin's grip is weakening. The energy empire is bleeding out. The people see a future increasingly uncertain, a country on the brink of chaos. The question remains, will these wounds turn into a revolution? Or will the Kremlin clamp down with even greater brutality? The story is still unfolding. In the heart of military strategy, a masterstroke was carried out that shattered Russia's defenses beyond expectation. Ukrainian forces carefully analyzed Russia's vast territory and weak points. They planned a coordinated assault on 5 critical targets across the country. This wasn't just a simple attack, it was a surgical strike designed to cripple the core of Russia's military and economic infrastructure. Now, focus shifts to the south, specifically Rostov. Here, the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery stands as a vital artery feeding Russia's military might. This isn't just any refinery, it supplies fuel for tanks, armored vehicles, and transport trucks in the southern military zone. With a processing capacity of about 110,000 barrels daily, around 5 million tons each year, it ranks among the most significant energy hubs in the region. As midnight fell, this massive fuel hub faced an unprecedented threat. Rather than a typical drone, the Ukrainian Air Force launched sophisticated Western-made Storm Shadow missiles, precision-guided, bunker-busting weapons capable of penetrating concrete defenses. Eyewitness reports and local broadcasts reveal that these missiles hit their target intensely, smashing into the main distillation towers and storage tanks. No warning, no mercy. The attack dodged Russia's air defenses entirely, striking directly at the facility's critical points. Satellite data from NASA confirmed extensive heat signatures shortly after the strike, evidence of the destructive power unleashed. The 450-kilogram Storm Shadow warheads bored into the concrete defenses, exploding inside, reducing the installation to a smoldering ruin. The damage wasn't superficial, it was devastating, irreparable damage to Russia's fuel supplies and military logistics. How can a Russian oligarch invested in Rostov trust a leader like Putin now? The trust of those who rely on this refinery, business owners and workers, has likely shattered completely. Citizens involved in exporting petroleum, local employees, even the Kremlin's own supporters, are beginning to realize their lives are no longer protected. The question is, will they stay loyal or turn against the man who left them vulnerable? But the destruction of Rostov is only one part of a larger, more alarming picture. As this fire consumed the refinery, fears grew. What is happening in the far eastern corner of Russia? Far from the front lines, in a quiet region called Orenburg, a chilling new danger emerged. The same Ukrainian intelligence units, equipped with advanced long-range drones, struck again, targets previously thought unreachable. In this military chess game, Orenburg sat comfortably within Russia's interior, beyond reach, considered safe. Yet, the silence was deceptive. Ukrainian drones, with low radar signatures and autonomous navigation, silently glided across hundreds of miles, bypassing the country's air defenses. They approached the massive gas processing plant, the heart of Russia's energy production for the east. Without warning, fiery explosions lit up the sky, and black smoke billowed high, signaling burning debris and shattered machinery. Imagine the scene, the quiet hum of the city suddenly broken by distant explosions. Piercing sirens piercing the night, thick fumes choking the air. This attack proved Ukraine's ability to strike at any point within Russia's borders, no matter how deep or protected. The gas complex processes over 37.5 billion cubic meters of natural gas annually, an economic lifeline for the country. Now, with this facility crippled, Russia's energy exports face a staggering blow. This isn't just a temporary disruption. Fixing such damage could take years of lost revenue, of economic decline, of growing despair among the authorities. For ordinary citizens, the impact is equally immediate and terrifying. Workers in Orenburg face unemployment, with production halted and livelihoods snatched away. The city's energy infrastructure, once a symbol of strength, lies in ruins. The silence of the gas plant's shattered towers echoes the state's vulnerability. As winter approaches, the prospect of shortages, rising bills, and hardship looms large. The air thickens with tension. How much longer can Putin's regime maintain control amid such chaos? The final blow strikes the Black Sea port of Temryuk, another strategic target. Located at the Crimean coast, it's a vital hub for Russia's maritime supply routes. Ukrainian forces launched a massive attack that set fire to a sprawling 2,000 square meter area. Fuel storage tanks engulfed in flames. The sound of collapsing structures, the heat intense enough to be felt on the skin, told a story of destruction and chaos. This isn't just an accident, it's a calculated strike aimed at crippling Russia's logistics. The port's destruction has catastrophic consequences. Ships can't operate, cranes are frozen, and rail connections are rendered useless. This domino effect hits the entire Black Sea region, disrupting supplies to Crimea and choking off vital military resupplies. Without reliable sea routes, the Russian grip on Crimea weakens. Already strained by sanctions and attacks, the region begins to buckle. The future of this strategic peninsula is now uncertain. Once a symbol of Russian dominance, it faces potential abandonment. Loyalty among oligarchs, once unshakable, faces new doubts. These business magnates depended on oil and gas exports, now crippled by Ukrainian strikes, jeopardizing their fortunes. The burning port marks the end of lucrative deals, billions lost in contracts, and a shrinking empire of wealth. As their riches slip away, whispers grow louder. Could we see a future where Putin's grip is broken from within? Are the captains of this sinking ship already preparing escape plans? Meanwhile, in the city of Saratov, sirens pierced the Christmas morning air. Explosions rocked the refinery on the Volga River, black smoke pouring skyward, signs of total destruction. This strategic site, vital for supplying fuel deep into Russian territory, has been brought to a standstill. The sounds of cracking metal and burning fuel filled the air, an ominous reminder that Russia's energy network is under siege. Panic spreads among local residents rushing to gas stations, desperate to fill their tanks before supplies run dry. All these strikes paint a vivid picture. Ukraine's military campaign isn't just about hitting targets, it's a calculated attempt to erode Russia's backbone, a behind-the-scenes war of attrition. As cities burn, factories lie in ruin, and supply chains collapse, the question remains, how much longer can Putin hold this fractured empire together? The fires of resistance aren't just burning, they're igniting a revolution from within. But have you ever wondered what happens when a country's deepest secrets are exposed not by spies, but by silent killers from the sky? Imagine the shock of realizing that no place in Russia is truly safe anymore. In the shadow of the Rostov devastation, where Russian citizens and the elite witnessed their homes and fortunes crumble under the Kremlin's fragile shield, the anger against Putin began to simmer. Yet, the cracks widening in his support didn't stop there. The outrage was far from confined to the south. Shattered trusts in Rostov's industrial heart paved the way for even deeper betrayals elsewhere. Now, imagine shifting your gaze eastward, miles and miles from the war's jagged front line, to Orsk, a sanctuary deep in Russia's belly, once shielded from conflict's cruel touch. What a devastating twist. Ukrainian intelligence transformed this haven into a blazing inferno using cutting-edge long-range drones deployed by the Security Service of Ukraine. These sleek, stealthy machines, with their minimal radar footprints and self-guided flights, slipped past Russia's watchful defenses like phantoms in the night. Their low-altitude drifts evaded every radar ping. And the payoff? A direct assault on the gas separation units, the plant's tender nerve center. Sensory overload hit hard, the roar of igniting gas, the acrid sting of smoke curling into the sky, visible for leagues, a tactile heat wave pulsing through the air. This strike shattered illusions, proving Ukraine could now pummel any Russian target, no matter how remote, with pinpoint precision. Orsk's gas processing giant stands as one of Russia's titans in gas chemistry, churning through 37.5 billion cubic meters annually. Picture the raw fury gripping a local business owner there, cheeks flushed, fists clenched against Putin's relentless war push. Economically, this hit was a venomous blade slicing through Russia's export lifeline. Halting a behemoth capable of processing 37.5 billion cubic meters rattled global markets, but the deepest wounds tore into the Russian coffers. This megasite didn't just refine natural gas, it supplied the building blocks for plastics, fertilizers, and chemicals too. The production halt carved out a giant hole in Russia's petrochemical realm, an eye-popping billion-dollar gash that could madden any oligarch to the core. What's more, the rubble here likely incinerated the oil-fueled rubles Putin banked on for his war machine, all going up in literal smoke. Repairs? A marathon, stretching into months or even years, stymied by Western sanctions that lock away vital replacement parts. This isn't a brief stumble, it's a curse of lasting industrial ruin. And the people can't just brush it off. Shutting down Orsk's colossal gas plant means hordes of workers sidelined, jobs vanishing into thin air. In these towns, the plant is everything, a lifeline. When it falls silent, communities wither, homes grow cold, stomachs growl louder, futures dim. The desperation builds, a social powder keg ticking under the Kremlin's boots. The everyman class tunes out Putin's glory chants, staring instead at barren shelves and hollow pockets. Have you felt that chill of betrayal? Where loyalty crumbles like brittle stone? But wait, will this cascade of chaos finally make the elite rats desert the sinking ship, or will they cling to Putin's fading throne like frightened ghosts? The tension coils tighter as winter's bite nears, and Russia's heart heaves with unseen tremors. What if the next explosion shatters the very last illusion of safety in Moscow itself? The Orenburg gas plant flames nearly erased billions in exports, with repairs dragging on for months or years, turning a victory boast into bitter smoke. What if Russia's heart of industry now crumbles forever, no spare parts from the West, choking their empire under global scorn? Western sanctions lock away the vital components, turning a blow into endless ruin, a grinding halt, not a breather. Can desperate people stand by as dreams shatter? The mammoth plant silence spells doom for thousands, jobs evaporate, families starve, homes freeze in bitter cold, the Kremlin's iron grip fraying. Cities pulse with anger, livelihoods stolen, victories hollow in empty stomachs, a ticking bomb under Putin's throne. Twist, oligarchs whisper mutinies, their fortunes ash, plots brewing in shadowed rooms, the emperor naked. Shifting to Krasnodar, where another tremor strikes, the Temriuk port. Black Sea lifeline, ferries and ships fueling the Kerch idle. Ukraine strikes hard, fuel silos erupt. 2,000 square meters ablaze, heat so fierce it blinds sensors. Not mere sparks, cranes warp, rails melt, connections shatter in fiery chaos. Black Sea arteries bleed. Kerch bridge groans heavier, winter bites deeper. Crimea stranded, soldiers shiver, civilians ration scraps. Putin's grasp on the peninsula, slipping, oligarch empires plummet, millions in deals vanish, loyalty cracks like brittle glass. Captain's plot escapes, as the ship drowns in Ukrainian shadows. Could Saratov be next, sirens wailing louder, fuel scarce and holiday dread? In the heart of a brutal winter, a single spark ignited a chain of catastrophic events across Russia, threatening the very core of its power and stability. Imagine the icy cold air pierced by distant sirens, while black smoke rises from shattered industrial giants. The nation's secrets are spilling out, fuel shortages, economic collapse, and a government buckling under unseen forces. How much longer can Putin's regime withstand this relentless assault? Previous whispers of resilience are turning into desperate cries. The destruction at Temriuk port has crippled Russia's Black Sea logistics. The once bustling docks, filled with the sounds of cranes and the scent of burnt oil, now lie silent. With no ships to resupply Crimea, the military and civilians face an incoming winter of despair. Grainy images reveal the port's cranes and loading ramps are derailed, all transport links severed. The stakes? Nothing less than Russia's grip on Crimea itself. When supply routes falter, the entire body politic begins to rot from within, the gangrene creeping into the heart of the very territory Moscow fought to keep. Now, imagine oligarchs, once smug and confident, watching their empire crumble. Their precious refineries and ports, machines for printing billions, set ablaze by unseen enemies. The burning of Temriuk signifies the end of oil and gas exports worth billions. Contracts vanish into smoke, and the flow of wealth dries up. Loyal followers around Putin are witnessing their fortunes evaporate like frost in the spring. Questions boil beneath their composure. How much longer can they remain loyal to a leader unable to protect their riches? Rumors of a future without Putin are echoing louder among the elite. The question emerges, are they preparing to abandon the sinking ship, or are they already making their escape? Take a step further inland, to Saratov, another region caught in the crossfire. As Christmas bells echoed, sirens wailed again. Explosive blasts tore through the city's critical fuel site, an operation relying on saturation tactics. Swarms of silent drones, with low radar profiles, slipped past Russian defenses. In a flash, the cracking unit, where crude oil turns into petrol, was reduced to blackened ruins. Local reports depict plumes of dark smoke billowing from the shattered tower, not from the refinery's chimney but from its core. This is destruction at its most ruthless. The shutdown of Saratov's refinery, strategic on the Volga, means Moscow's vital fuel supplies are now severed. Going into the depth of winter, kilometer-long queues form at gas stations in Rostov, as panic spreads among ordinary citizens. The nation's fuel reserves are vanishing. Imagine the icy chill of desperation, families glaring anxiously at empty pumps, fear clutching their chests. With supply lines cut, life in Russia's interior faces chaos. The very backbone of their economy strains under relentless pressure. As Russian defenses remain overwhelmed and their infrastructure shattered, the question persists, how much longer can the Kremlin hold? These strikes are more than military tactics, they are the beginning of a social upheaval. Exposing the cracks in Putin's facade. The empire's core trembles, and the first signs of rebellion flicker in the smoke and flame of a nation's fading power. In the heart of Russia, an invisible storm has erupted during a city's most sacred night. Imagine the quiet streets, once filled with festive cheer, suddenly shattered by deafening explosions and the smell of burning fuel. The entire nation trembles. Can you picture the shock? The fear? As flames engulf critical infrastructure, the icy realization sinks in, this is no ordinary attack, It's a calculated blow designed to paralyze the very core of Russia's power. This chaos didn't happen by chance. Each strike was a meticulously planned surgical operation, aimed directly at Russia's lifelines. Targets include vital energy plants, ports, and industrial hubs, each chosen for its strategic importance. These aggressive moves reveal a frightening truth: Ukraine's military capabilities have dramatically evolved, penetrating defenses once thought impenetrable. But how? How did such precise, devastating assaults succeed against a nation boasting one of the world's largest defense systems? The answer lies in the glaring gaps exposed by these attacks, gaps that even the most fortified defense couldn't seal. Take the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery, a mountain of steel and fire that supplies the Russian army with fuel. As midnight struck, Western-made Storm Shadow missiles ripped through its concrete walls, turning towering distillation columns into metal wreckage. Witnesses described the sound of explosions, the tremor beneath their feet, and the swirling black smoke that darkened the night sky. This is a blow to Russia's military machine, an artery now severed, threatening to choke the country's war effort. Questions swirl: will Putin hold on to power as his soldiers run dry? Or is this just the beginning of his downfall? From the south to the east, new fires ignite, each one a ticking time bomb threatening Russia's fragile stability. Long-range drones slither silently over neutral zones, targeting the Orenburg gas complex, one of the largest in the nation, causing massive flames to light up the sky. The familiar hum of machinery is replaced by a deafening silence, broken only by crackling flames and distant sirens. Experts reveal that Ukrainian drones, equipped with low radar signatures and autonomous navigation, evaded Russia's defenses with ease. How can a country so proud as Russia allow its critical infrastructure to be so vulnerable? The destruction results not just in burnt pipelines but in a crippling blow to the national economy. Imagine the panic in towns along the Volga, drivers lined up for miles, desperate to fuel their cars, trembling fears creeping into every household. This isn't just a supply crisis, it's a social catastrophe. As shelves grow emptier and prices skyrocket, doubling overnight, the Russian middle class faces a new nightmare. Fuel shortages threaten food supplies, deliveries cease, and chaos reigns. How much longer can Putin cling to the illusion of invincibility when ordinary Russians are forced to confront an uncertain future? Now, the attack at the port of Temriuk strikes like a lightning bolt against Russia's maritime route to Crimea, its lifeline for logistics and supplies. Flames roar across a sprawling port, buildings collapse under the weight of explosions. The sound of bursting tanks echoes, silence falling where ships once docked. The ripple effect is felt deep within Russia's Black Sea region, knocking out crucial supply lines, and further isolating Putin's regime in a brutal winter. The port's destruction marks a turning point. Will Russia's grasp on Crimea weaken as its supply chains fray apart? All across the nation, the pattern repeats, each attack exposing cracks in what was believed to be an unbreakable defense. From Saratov's strategic refinery to the battered port of Temriuk, the assaults are a wake-up call for Putin's regime. The once mighty fortress now appears vulnerable, exposed by a ruthless, coordinated wave of strikes. What is Ukraine's true goal? Is this the beginning of a new chapter, one where Russia's own infrastructure becomes its undoing? As these fires die down, the real crisis emerges, an impending chain reaction that could dismantle the foundation of Russia's war effort and economy. Critical energy facilities, transportation hubs, and industrial complexes are now bleeding resources, not just temporarily, but potentially permanently. The question remains, will Putin be able to contain this chaos before his empire crumbles? Or is this the spark that ignites an irreversible downfall? The night has revealed Russia's deepest vulnerabilities. Can the regime withstand the storm? In a formidable display of precision, Ukrainian forces unleashed a synchronized assault on Christmas night, dismantling Russia's energy backbone with unrelenting force. This showcased masterful operational prowess. Yet, it spelled utter strategic collapse for Russia. The tangible wreckage from these strikes merely scratches the surface of a far deeper turmoil. As flames lit up the horizon, a cascading disaster ignited, rattling Russia's military machinery and unraveling its hidden vulnerabilities. Imagine the roar of explosions echoing through silent nights, the acrid stench of burning fuel clinging to the air, and the jolt of shockwaves trembling underfoot. Fires at facilities like Novoshakhtinsk, Orenburg, and Temryuk didn't just blaze, they sparked a relentless chain reaction. Soldiers on the front lines felt the pinch, fuel stocks dwindled, and even Moscow's financial heart, home to stockbrokers in sleek suits, shuddered with fear. What had seemed invincible now teetered on collapse. Each blown refinery symbolized a vital link in Russia's sprawling web of logistics and wealth. When these links snapped, the whole structure groaned and faltered. Cities slowed, economies strained, and a wave of uncertainty crashed over everyone from battle-hardened troops to investors in high-rise offices. But wait, could this fragility ripple into the very soul of society? Did you know that in the chaos, Russia's defenses exposed a gaping hole right in the capital? Picture the heart of Moscow, no longer a fortress, but a city gripped by invisible cracks. Suddenly, shocking reports surfaced. Moscow itself wasn't spared. A police patrol vehicle erupted in flames, its metal frame twisted and searing hot to the touch. 2 officers lost their lives in an instant, engulfed in a deadly blaze that smelled of charred rubber and despair. This wasn't random chaos, it signaled a profound shift. Authority frayed, security melted away like frost under an unrelenting sun. Right beneath the Kremlin's towering spires, a power void emerged, breeding fear that sprouted chaos from within. Sirens wailed piercingly, piercing the night's eerie quiet, while the metallic tang of destruction lingered, making every breath heavy with dread. For Russia's top brass and intelligence agencies like the FSB, panic set in. Could a regime that couldn't safeguard its own protectors on home soil defend anyone? This haunting doubt now lingered in every mind, from wary citizens to jittery oligarchs hoarding fortunes in luxurious enclaves. As streets once buzzing with confidence now hummed with whispers of betrayal, the illusion of unassailable power shattered. Those who thrived under Putin's shadow for decades, amassing billions behind guarded walls, now grasped a terrifying truth. Their empires, built on borrowed strength, stood exposed as mirages. What if the very system meant to shield them unravels, leaving them scrambling in the dark? In opulent neighborhoods of Rubliovka, where marble halls echoed with laughter, air raid wails now intruded, shattering dreams of invulnerability. The night sky, once clear, now glowed ominously red with distant fires. Airports slammed shut amid drone threats, flights vanished like smoke. And escape paths narrowed into treacherous dead ends. For the elite, this was the ultimate horror, trapped. Their private jets grounded, their havens threatened. Yet, an even bigger terror loomed. Why were these powerful figures suddenly eyeing exits? As insecurities deepened, Russia's foundation cracked wide open. Every attack magnified betrayal, sowing seeds of doubt that could topple a regime. In the end, this wasn't just a military defeat, it was the erosion of trust, leaving empire builders questioning if loyalty bought anything anymore. And as winter's chill bit deeper, who knew what storm of resentment would follow? In the heart of Moscow's luxury neighborhoods, the air is thick with tension. The serene silence is shattered by the blaring wail of sirens. Oligarchs in Rubliovka, accustomed to opulence and security, now watch the smoky, burning sky through their windows. Airports, once gateways to safety, are now shuttered repeatedly due to relentless drone attacks. Flights are cancelled, escape routes tighten, and a chilling realization settles: money can't buy safety anymore. Deep cracks are forming within the regime. Generals and wealthy elites are quietly plotting: who will leave first, who will abandon ship. Loyalty used to be for the strong, now, survival instincts dominate. While in Kiev, families sang Christmas carols under sirens, Russian cities echoed with the terrifying sound of real destruction. The propaganda machinery can no longer hide the truth. Despite efforts by state-controlled personalities, the images can't be denied. In Orenburg, residents gaze out at the smoldering remains of their refinery, a stark reminder that the war has hit home. Russia has lost over 100,000 soldiers and can no longer control parts of its own territory. The destruction of key energy hubs has shattered the narrative of victory once fed to the nation. Videos flood social media, despite censorship, showing panicked, angry citizens questioning the government's ability to protect them. Why are they paying the price of a conflict they didn't choose? Why is the Kremlin failing in its most basic duty? As 2025 nears its end, a clear picture emerges. Russia is now a victim of its own war. The regime has lost control, depleted its forces, and seen its energy lifelines severed. Putin's relentless pursuit has pushed the country to the brink, turning the oil that once fueled its power into a scorched, burning ruin. In the coming days, cracks will turn into chasms. Ordinary citizens and oligarchs alike may finally see through Putin's illusion of strength. Many could turn their backs entirely, seeking refuge beyond Russia's borders. When that moment arrives, the man leading the Kremlin may find himself too late to save his empire. What do you think this means for Russia's future? Could the tide of loyalty turn within the very heart of power? Is this the beginning of the end for Putin's grip on the nation? Stay tuned, because what happens next could reshape the world's most complex power struggle.